Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. This is Dee, and today we are talking about something really interesting. It's Filipinos and how we are different from other Filipinos. And actually, this topic was my husband's request. He got curious and asked, why do Filipinos sound, act, or even think so differently depending on where they're from? You might think we are all the same, but a Filipino from Luzon, Visayas, or Mindanao can sound, behave, and even express emotions so differently. That's right. And before we start, just a quick note about language. The Philippines has around 120 to 187 dialects, but we will only talk about the common ones today. A language has its own grammar and words, like Tagalog, Cebuano, or Ilocano. A dialect is just a variation, like Batangas Tagalog versus Manila Tagalog, or Cebu Bisaya, or anything else about Bisayan people. And our national language is Filipino. It's based on Tagalog, and that's what connects us all. And yes, Filipinos speak English fluently because it's used in schools, in TV, and everyday life. So we grow up hearing and using it everywhere. Alright, now let's dive in and start with Luzon, the place where everything begins. Luzon sits proudly at the northern tip of the Philippines. It's the largest island group and home to the capital, Manila. It's where history meets hustle and the country's pulse beats the fastest. From the mountains of the Cordilleras down to Bicol's fiery volcanic coast, Luzon is a land of contrasts, skyscrapers beside rice terraces, expressways beside ancestral villages. It is where modern progress meets timeless tradition. It's a place that feels both global and deeply Filipino. And the dominant languages include Tagalog, Ilocano, Bicolano, Kapampangan, and many others. Luzon people, often called Luzonians, it's carry a mix of modern sophistication and deep cultural roots because it's the political, economic, and the educational hub of the country. Luzon has shaped much of what the world sees as Filipino. It's the center of business, government, and media. And it's the birthplace of countless ideas, trends, and leaders. Luzonians are known for being urbanized, educated, and globally influenced. It's balancing Western exposure with Filipino hospitality and tradition. Luzon is the Philippines' engine of growth. You will find the fast paced life in Manila, Quezon City, Baguio, and Makati. It's balanced by the farmlands of central Luzon, it's the scenic hills of Ilocos and Cagayan Valley. It is also a place where someone can spend weekdays in a skyscraper and weekends in the province. It is surrounded by rice fields and fresh air. And here's what Luzon are known for. Luzon is progressive and educated. It is the home to the country's top universities and major industries. People from Manila, Quezon City, and Baguio are often seen as well educated, career driven, and confident in professional settings. They value independence, discipline, and ambition, but still stay grounded in family values. Their unique trait, they balance professionalism with Filipino warmth. They are also known as urbanized and influential. Because Luzon holds the capital and most major cities, its people often set trends in business, fashion, and culture. They are comfortable in both corporate offices and creative industries, and they also adapt easily to global influences while preserving a local flavor. They are modern and adaptive, and blending global style with local identity. Next, they're also assertive and opinionated. Compared to the softer tones of Visayans and Mindanaoans, Luzonians are more direct and expressive. They value logic, punctuality, and efficiency, traits that make them sound confident or even mayabang to others, though it's really just their assertive nature. They are clear communicators and natural leaders who speak with conviction. They are also known as family oriented but independent. Like all Filipinos, they value family. But growing up in busy, competitive environments taught them to be self reliant. Many of them move away early for school or work, learning to balance independence with tradition. They are practical and self sufficient, yet deeply respectful of family bonds. Next is Luzon is not one culture, it's many. Ilocanos are known for thrift and hard work, Kapampangans for their culinary mastery, Tagalogs for their cultural and political influence, Bicolanos for their faith and love of spicy food, Cordillerans and Igorots for preserving ancient mountain traditions. So here's the question: how other Filipinos see Luzon people? Most Filipinos associate Luzon with city life. Malls, coffee shops, traffic, and fast-paced living. The positive side is sophisticated, smart, and confident, while the stereotype is that they are maarte, mayabang, or they are not used to simple life. Luzonians are viewed as strategic, ambitious, and practical, especially Tagalogs and Ilocanos. They all value education and success. That's why most of them are educated and hardworking. However, the stereotype of them is always wants to be right. Luzonians are known for being direct. Firm tone can sound blunt compared to Visayan or Mindanaoan styles, but they are confident communicators. However, the stereotype of them is hard to get along with, usually just a cultural misunderstanding. They are modern and independent. They are often seen as career focused, organized, and Western minded, proud of their independence and professionalism. They are self sufficient and progressive. However, most of them lacks provincial warmth when really it's just a different way of showing kindness. They don't know how to speak Bisaya. Since most speak Tagalog or English, people from the South like to playfully tease them for not knowing regional dialects. The positive side is they are easy to understand and neutral accent. However, the stereotype about them is being feeling center of the Philippines. The bottom line is, if you say I'm from Luzon, most Filipinos imagine someone educated, confident, and modern. Maybe a bit social or formal, but still friendly, respectful, and grounded. So that's the Luzon, the island of planners and dreamers, the land where progress meets tradition, and the brain and heart of the nation's modern life. And that's also why many from the Visayas and Mindanao travel to Luzon, especially to Manila or Makati. It's for better education and opportunities. Because for most Filipinos, Luzon is where dreams begin. And now we travel to the middle of the country, the Visayas. If Luzon is the brain and the driver of the nation, the Visayas is the heart that keeps the country smiling. When you meet a Bisaya person, you will notice something right away. They laugh easily, they speak warmly, and somehow make serious situations feel lighter. Visayans or Bisayans are famous for their sense of humor, quick wit, and playful attitude. Even in difficult times, they find a reason to joke or sing. Maybe it's the sun, the sea, or the music, but Bisayans naturally radiate joy. They love storytelling and teasing, and they show affection through banter. If a Bisaya teases you, that usually means they like you. They are also maliskarte or clever problem solvers. When something goes wrong, a Bisaya will just say, "Ay kaya rana," and figure out a way to fix it, usually with humor involved. The Bisayans' unique trait is they have a natural ability to make life lighter even when it's hard, and that's what makes the Bisayans some of the happiest people in the Philippines. Before we go deeper, let's clear up something important. People often ask, is Bisaya one single language? Not exactly. Bisaya refers to a group of languages spoken across the central Philippines. In central Visayas, people speak Cebuano, which most Filipinos simply call Bisaya. In western Visayas, they speak Hiligaynon or Ilonggo. And in eastern Visayas, they speak Waray-Waray. So when someone says Bisaya ko, they usually mean Cebuano. But technically, Waray and Ilonggo are also Bisayan language. They're all siblings in one linguistic family. And now let's talk about one of the most fascinating areas in the Visayas, Tacloban City in eastern Visayas. Taclobanan speak Waray-Waray, not Cebuano. That's because their language developed separately. It is shaped by geography and isolation. Centuries ago, Samar and Leyte were surrounded by seas and mountains. Because of that, their ancestors did not mix with Cebuanos. Over time, they built a language that became distinctly their own. Even the word waray means nothing or none. But ironically, the Warays have everything when it comes to character and courage. So yes, Taclobanans are Visayans, but they speak Waray and not Cebuano. It's like how British and Americans both speak language, same roots, different rhythm, and emotion. Let's also talk about why Warays are known as matapang or brave. Waray are often described as brave, strong, and outspoken. And that reputation did not come from nowhere. They were warriors and seafarers, defenders of their lands. And during events like Typhoon Yolanda, the world saw how Taclobanons stood up, rebuilt, and survived. Their resilience became part of their identity. When our Rai speaks, the tone is firm and powerful. It might sound like they're mad, but that's just how their language naturally flows. Even kindness sounds strong in Waray. That's why people say, "Oh my god, she's from Tacloban? She's brave." But deep down, that bravery comes from loyalty and love. Waray people, they look fierce on the outside, but they are tender inside. Why do Waray speak only Waray and not Cebuano? It's because it's all about isolation and identity. Because Samar and Leyte were separated from Cebu by sea, their ancestors did not mix much with Cebuano traders. By the time trade routes connected them, the Waray language had already evolved on its own. And the Warays take great pride in that. Even when they move away, they will still proudly say, Waray ako. Waray has a strong linguistic pride, and their dialect is their personality. On the other side of the Visayas, we meet the Ilonggos from Iloilo and Guimaras, often called the sweet talkers of the Philippines.
Abi mo, hindi nasakit mga ginahambal mo sa akon. Napatay gutom ko. Abi mo, hindi nasakit.
Where Waray speak with strength, Ilonggos speak like they are singing. Their language, Hiligaynon, is smooth and melodic. Even when they're angry, they sound calm and affectionate. You could be getting scolded and it still sounds gentle. This sweetness reflects Ilonggo culture. They're graceful, polite, and humble. They are influenced by old Spanish traditions. Ilonggos value courtesy and composure. They don't raise their voices. They express emotion through gentleness. And that's what makes them unique. They're soft spoken but emotionally intelligent. They know how to make their point with kindness. So, Waray versus Ilonggo, fire and honey. Both are Visayans, but total opposites in tone and expression. Warays are passionate and bold. They speak with fire. Ilonggos are calm and sweet. They speak with honey. When a Waray is angry, you'll definitely know. When an Ilonggo is angry, you might notice, but their calm words can cut deep. Both are loyal, loving, and proud. They just express it differently. The Waray protects you with strength. The Ilonggo comforts you with care. So, is Waray and Bisaya the same? This confuses a lot of people. So, let's clarify that. Waray and Bisaya or Cebuano are not the same language, but they belong to the same Visayan family of languages. Think of Bisaya like European. Europe has Italians, French, and Spanish. All European, but not the same. Visayas is like that. Waray, Cebuano, and Ilonggo are all Bisayan, but each has its own accent, sound, and soul. So yes, all Warays are Visayans, but not all Visayans are Waray. And that's why someone from Cebu says, Bisaya ko. But someone from Tacloban proudly says, Waray ako. Both are right. It's just identity. Now, let's talk about how Visayans are often perceived by other Filipinos and the stereotypes, both funny and unfair, that come with it. Visayans are known for being joyful, hardworking, and expressive. But of course, depending on who you ask, the perception can change. Here's the positive stereotyping. People say Visayans are happy, witty, and resilient. They bring energy wherever they go. They laugh loud, talk loud, and live fully. They are seen as practical, clever, and madiskarte, or able to adapt and survive anywhere. They are also known to be loyal friends and affectionate partners. When they care about someone, they mean it deeply. And here's the common stereotypes. Others describes Visayans as too loud. Walang hinayog tingog. Because of their strong tone and expressive way of speaking. Some mistake it for being angry, but really, it's passion. And they sometimes labeled as provinciano or provinciana as if they are too simple or provincial. Even though Cebu, Iloilo, and Dumaguete are among the most progressive cities in the country. Small Town 3. Visayans also get teased for their Tagalog accent because mixing Bisaya rhythm into words, but that's part of their charm. In reality, most Visayans are trilingual. They are fluent in Bisaya, fluent in Tagalog, and in English. And because they speak directly and from the heart, some people call them palaban or matapang or too brave. But truthfully, they are just being honest. They do not sugarcoat. They say what they mean. So if a Luzonian says yes, a Visayan might say yes, but here's what I think. And that's not a defiance. That's confidence. These stereotypes, both good and bad, it come from cultural differences and not attitude. Visayans express themselves with emotion and laughter. They live with warmth, humor, and sincerity. At the end of the day, being Bisaya is not about being loud or funny. It's about being real. They wear their hearts on their sleeves. They laugh through struggle. And they never pretend to be someone they're not. Visayans are cheerful, hardworking, family-centered, creative, and loyal. From the fiery Waray to the soft Ilonggo and the charismatic Cebuano in between. The Visayas embodies the Filipino heart at its warmest. And now, let's go farther south to a land of mountains, mosques, and faith, where courage, culture, and promise come together. Now we head farther south to Mindanao. It's the second largest island group of the Philippines and honestly, one of the most misunderstood. Mindanao is known for its breathtaking mountains, rich farmland, and diverse mix of cultures and beliefs. Here, you will find Christians, Muslims, and indigenous tribes living side by side, each contributing something unique to the country's soul. Why Mindanao is called the land of promise. You've probably heard that phrase before. Mindanao, the land of promise. But what does it actually means? Mindanao holds so much natural potential, fertile soil, vast lands, and abundant natural resources. It's where most of the country's food comes from. The fruits, vegetables, rice, and fish. Many see Mindanao as a land full of opportunities, untouched beauty, ready to flourish. It's the land of promise, not only because of its wealth, but also because of the hope it carries, the promise of peace and unity among its people. While Luzon represents progress and the Visayas stands for warmth, Mindanao represents strength, a quiet, enduring power. Mindanao is incredibly diverse. There is no single language that defines it. Instead, it's a mix of several major ones. The most common is Bisaya or Cebuano. Yes, the same language spoken in Cebu. Because many people from the Visayas migrated here over time. That's why you will hear Bisaya spoken widely in cities like Davao, Cagayan de Oro, and General Santos. Then there is Chabacano. It's a Spanish based Creole spoken mainly in Zamboanga. It is one of the most unique languages in the Philippines. It is a mix of Old Spanish and native Filipino grammar. I will give you an example and let me try this. A Chavacano speaker might say, Taan dayo na casa, which means I'm going home. You can hear the Spanish influence, but it still sounds Filipino. And it's one of the few surviving Spanish creoles in the world. And it's a proof of how rich and complex Mindanao's history really is. Mindanao is also home to many faiths: Christianity, Islam, and indigenous beliefs. Cities like Davao are home to people of all faiths living peacefully together, while in places like Marawi and Cotabato, the Muslim populations, called Moro, has preserved traditions that go back hundreds of years. The Muslim Filipinos or Bangsamoro people have their own proud identity, with customs, clothing, and cuisine that reflect their deep connection to Islam. And then there are the Lumads, the indigenous tribes of Mindanao, like the Manobo, Tiboli, Bagobo, Subanen, and many others, each with their own language, patterns, and stories passed down for generations. And why Mindanao is sometimes misunderstood. Now, let's talk about something more sensitive. Mindanao is often in the news for conflicts or terrorist attacks. But here's the truth: not all of Mindanao is unsafe. In fact, most parts of Mindanao are peaceful, vibrant, and full of life. Cities like Davao, Cagayan de Oro, and Iligan are modern, clean, and progressive. The conflicts that happen in some areas is mostly caused by historical land disputes, political struggles, and the long fight for independence by certain groups. But those issues do not define Mindanao. They are just part of a much deeper story, one about resilience, unity, and hope. That's why it's called the land of promise. Because despite of all the challenges, there is always hope that better days are coming. Now let's talk about how people from Mindanao, the land of promise, are seen by other Filipinos like Luzonians and Visayans. Mindanaoans also have stereotypes, some positive, some unfair. It is shaped by history, distance, and misunderstanding. Here are the positive stereotypes. Brave and strong-willed Mindanaoans are often described as matatag, strong, grounded, and dependable. They have faced decades of challenges, from conflict to climate, and still remain proud and peaceful. People admire their courage and calm strength. They are also kind and hospitable. Those who have visited Mindanao always say the same thing. The people are super nice. They welcome everyone like a family with warmth and sincerity. They live by the value of malasakit, genuine care for others. Mindanaoans often speak in a calm and respectful tone. They are not loud or boastful. They let their work and character speak for them. And also, faith plays a big role in daily life. Whether Christian, Muslim, or indigenous, they all live by spiritual values. It's discipline, peace, and respect. And here are the common stereotyping. When you hear Mindanao, it often means dangerous or violent. It is one of the biggest misconceptions is that Mindanao is unsafe. Media often focuses on conflict zones like Marawi or Sulu, but most Mindanao is peaceful, modern, and thriving, especially cities like Davao, Cagayan de Oro, and General Santos. They also think that Muslims are terrorists. This is one of the most painful stereotypes. Many non Mindanaoans assume Muslims are extremists, when in truth, the Bangsamoro people are among the most respectful and disciplined communities in the Philippines. They live by honor, hospitality, and faith. Some outsiders think Mindanao is behind in progress, but that's outdated. Mindanao is now a key economic zone with growing industries, universities, and ports. They are also often known as too serious or mahiyain because Mindanaoans are calm and reserved. Some people think they are unapproachable, but they are simply observant. They listen first and they speak with intention. And the last one, they are known for being tribal or old fashioned. Having many indigenous groups does not mean backwardness, it means cultural depth. These tribes preserve ancient crafts, sustainable practices, and wisdom that modern society can learn from. And here's the truth about Mindanaoans. Mindanaoans are some of the most misunderstood, but also some of the most genuine, peaceful, and resilient Filipinos. They don't talk loudly about struggles, they just keep working, building, and hoping for peace. They have learned that respect is stronger than pride, and unity is louder than any stereotyping. And that's what makes them the soul of the land of promise. If Luzon is where progress begins, and Visayas is where laughter lives, then Mindanao is where the courage and faith reside. Many people from Visayas and Luzon moved to Mindanao for business and agriculture, while Mindanaoans travel north for education or work. It's also why so many Mindanaoans speak Bisaya because migration and trade tied these regions together for centuries. So when we look at the Philippines as a whole, Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao, we see one nation with three souls. Luzon represents the mind, progress, ambition, and intellect. Visayas represents the heart, warmth, humor, and emotion. And Mindanao represents the spirit, faith, strength, and courage. Together, they form what it really means to be Filipino. Resilient, kind, and full of hope, no matter what island we come from. And that's it for today's episode. I hope this helped you see the Philippines in a new way. If you enjoyed this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and tell me in the comments which region you're from. Thanks for watching. I'm Dee, and see you in the next one. Bye!